Greetings YouTube, Kevlar Chicken here, and today I will be making a full review of this knife. It's the Bahco knife, and yeah, this is a budget work knife. As you can see, it's a bright orange color, not the tactical black stuff. Right off the bat, I just want to say this is a pretty cheap product. I know most of you will ask right away. The other characteristics will be down below, but for now I will tell you the price is anywhere from $8 to $9 or 7 to 8 euros for those of you living in Europe, $8 to $9 for those of you in America, and for those of you in Bulgaria it's anywhere from 15 to 17 Bulgarian leva. That is pretty cheap for a knife like this because it's practical. I like it, despite me being basically just I don't know, I just have this as a hobby, but most of the time I spend on my PC, especially lately. I'm not really that great with sharpening stones yet. This was relatively easy to sharpen, but I do have another knife that hasn't been sharpened that's very similar to this, has the same type of grind, and it's a little dulled, so this will be perfect for comparing, giving you an idea how this one was out of the box, because obviously I can't really show you how it was out of the box since I've sharpened it. Now it's somewhat better, so I want you to know what to expect. Now I'll structure this video very simply. I will be looking at a script because this is my third attempt and I want to try to make it short, but I babble on a lot, so I use ChatGPT to shorten my stuff, compress it into sections. However, these are still my thoughts. I just wrote a bunch of mumbo jumbo and told the AI to structure it. So I'll be going over the pros, cons, and the final conclusion. I will give detailed characteristics on the edge itself down below, and I will add some more random info along the way. Okay, let's get started. So what I like about this, I already mentioned, it's pretty practical, easy to sharpen. Now I've talked to a knife guy, but I don't really want to argue with someone who knows a lot more than me, but the Scandi grind, I personally find that a lot easier to sharpen on a whetstone compared to something that has a secondary bevel, simply because I mean, look at this. You can just put this kind of like this, and I don't want to cut myself. This is pretty sharp right now, and you kind of get the feel of the blade the entire way through, whereas with a secondary bevel you kind of have to align it with the secondary bevel, whereas with this it kind of just lays flat and it gives you a slightly better feel. I don't know how to explain it. For me personally, it's easier to sharpen. Also, this blade is, aside from the belly, it's a pretty small straight blade, so I can do it in 2 sections without really fucking up the angle much. And the steel isn't so super hard that it would be such a big challenge. Okay, so affordable, practical, easy to sharpen, convenient design. It comes with a plastic sheath. Now I'm not necessarily a fan of plastic for most things, however this one is very practical because leather sheaths kind of flop around. I mean, if you want to be a cowboy, they're more practical, but for example on my K-bar I really like how it looks, how it feels, but I would rather have a if I used it daily, I would much rather have a plastic or higher quality polymer, something that's hard and doesn't flop around. Now the practical part of this design is that it's bright orange, so it's a lot harder to lose this. When I've dropped it in grass, for example, This kind of is full dark. This is my motor companion spark, and something that is fully black. As you can see, very similar blades. I will tell you why I brought this one for comparison. You can see they're very similar. That's why I'm going to use it for a certain comparison purposes. However, this one, as you can see how this is shaped, this can only go in this way. You know, it can only, because it's shaped like the blade. It's not a big deal, but you cannot put the blade this way. It will fall out. I mean, it does somewhat stay, but you get the point. It can't do the pop. I think you heard that. Whereas this is a double-sided clip. Like, no matter if you put it in this way, see, it doesn't matter if the blade is this way or this way, it will pop right in, because this section isn't shaped in any particular way. As you can see, this one is shaped here for the blade. Now, this isn't a big deal for me personally, but it does add an extra layer of efficiency for a work knife, that you can holster it however you want. It does have a belt clip, bright orange, so you don't lose it. It's pretty sharp out of the box. Now, it has a pretty good basic design. The factory edge is a bit rough. As you can see, I did some work on this and I polished it, but let's see if I can find the spot that was hard, because when I sharpen it, the stone hits here and it's hard for me to, let's say, you can, let's see if I can focus this. Let's see at the very beginning of the knife. Sometimes that part isn't sharpened at all, so people can choke on it like this. You can see kind of how the blade was, and I somewhat mirror polished it. It's not a perfect mirror, but it's pretty good. I'm too lazy to do it properly, and since I'll be using this, probably no need to, since I'll probably scratch it up anyway. Now, the blade hardness and other more complex stuff like that. Oh, I mean, it's listed as 55 to 58 HRC, 2246 stainless steel. And it has a very, very comfortable rubber handle. Now, let me demonstrate. I've been so far up in the video, I feel like I owe you guys the demonstration already. Excuse me. Now, this is the standard printer paper. I have sharpened this, but I will show you on the other knife that's been, well, I sharpened it once, but I used it a lot since then. It's also dirty. So this isn't representative of how it's out of the box, but it is representative of how me as an amateur can sharpen it, although I took longer than I should have. You can see how easily this cuts. This is a less than $10 knife right now in December 2024. Also, I personally like it aesthetically, even though it's a cheapo knife. I mean, look at it, that's candy grind. Why don't more people do this candy grind? It's so good. Personally, this is my favorite grind. And I don't know, I don't think even Hattori Hanzo can talk me out of it anymore. This is such a good knife grind. This is, before I do the test, this is just paper that is the closest thing to phone book paper I can find. I think this is a little bit thicker, but whatever, let's try it. Okay, it couldn't do that one. So if I put it closer to my fingers, it does cut it. This is more difficult. You don't necessarily need that much, to be fair. This gets... It does cut it. I mean, if I push it faster, it will cut. If a knife is not sharp, it doesn't matter if you go faster. But I think the slower you go, the harder it is. Only a really sharp knife will be able to deal with this stupid thing. But yeah, as I told you, this is after I did some of my own work on it and stropped it a bit. As you can see, this is my Mura Companion Spark. The version of the Mura knife from Murakniv, that is where the one without the lighter, is very similarly priced. It's slightly more expensive. I'm not sure by how much, but just imagine it's the one that doesn't have the lighter, because it's basically the same knife. Just this is a lot more expensive, but you know, for comparison reasons, I showed you the blades. They're fairly similar, and this was after the sharpening and giving you the out of the box. As you can see, this is roughly how that one was out of the box. You can see the grind marks, which I told you you can remove. You can sharpen it, but you need a little more work to remove the grind marks. Obviously, that is the one downside of cheaper knives. You might need to do a bit of extra work yourself, because the machine work is more rough, but you can't expect perfection for less than $10, let's be honest. Someone has to do that work. It will cut paper just a bit more harshly out of the box. Okay, let's try the phone book paper replacement that I have. Well, if I go faster, it does cut it, but you can see it has a little bit more difficulty. So this is more representative of what you would expect from this out of the box. However, like I said, if you are more skilled or you simply have a better feel for sharpening, because I'm a bit of a thick skull, and instead of listening to people, I do my own experiments. But a lot of people on YouTube, they show you how they gently pass the knife a few times and explain the process, but very few actually show you how damn hard you need to actually grind. And they tell you, oh, this 1000 grit is medium, when in fact you can get a knife paper cutting sharp with a 400 grit stone if you are using enough pressure. If your knife is pretty dull, it won't do any damage to it. And most people's knives, if someone hands you a knife and tells you, oh, I need you to sharpen this, chances are you can probably pass the knife through your hand and it won't cut you. So giving it a bit more pressure, I'm not going off on a tangent, but yeah, most people don't know what a sharp knife is. To most people, what I demonstrated with this is like insanely sharp. Ever since I learned this skill, even at my level, my friends are like, god damn, that's very sharp. But in fact, you can check on YouTube, there's many more levels of sharpness. But like I said, you can get paper cutting sharp with a 400 grit stone and a strop if you angle it correctly and use the stone correctly. So keep that in mind. the garbage. Now, so the conclusion is this is worth it. What are the cons? Because so far I've been glazing this knife. Well, okay, the basic design, not good for fans of exotic knives, but that should have been obvious. The rough factory edge also needs a little work on a coarse stone before it's ideal for people who want a better edge. And the one thing that it's not good for, I think, is heavy tasks. Like this does not have enough blade length for people who want to do things like batoning, and pretty sure it's not full tank. This is just a worker's knife. This is for people who are going to just put it on their belt and cut cardboard, wire, anything, and just want a disposable cheap knife. What other con can I possibly think of? Not much, just maybe it's not the best super steel in the world, so you might expect a bit of edge chipping. It's not going to be the toughest thing, obviously, but that's it. Okay, this video's been pretty long, but I hope it was informative. As a bonus, I will cut this this material, which is kind of like this is basically garbage from work. I don't know how to put it. This is from the stickers we put on the packages to where they ship them, and this is the leftover from the sticky note that has the barcode. But it's an interesting material to cut because it's kind of like in between paper and somewhat plasticky. I don't know. Okay, let's see how it cuts this. Pretty good. For cutting difficulty, this is a little bit above paper and less than the phone book paper replacement I had. Sorry, but I don't have a phone book to cut, and I don't think I should. Those are, I know Skywgrim does it, but those are pretty interesting because they're really thin, but also those are kind of collectible. So I don't know how I would feel personally about cutting it. I mean, I'm also a knife guy, so I'd be tempted to, but I don't want to start doing that. Also, it's kind of a non-replenishable source of a cutting test medium currently. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a few things. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. I'll do some ASMR now. Hope you enjoyed it, hope it wasn't too rambly, and the holidays are coming, so have happy holidays, Christmas, New Year, whatever you want to call it. Just be merry, jolly, you know, all the good stuff.